episode 47.
Yeah. Boing, boing.
Wine courtesy of Uncle Jack.
Nice. Thanks, Uncle Jack.
I think
Shout out to Australia. That's my catchphrase. Can I get a t-shirt saying that?
Sure, we can do it. Oh, that's beautiful. Episode 47. So, announcements-wise, at this point, we don't have any. Things are going really smooth. We're still working through the new studio situation. And things are going great. We will be taking some time off after episode 50, I think. Yeah, episode 50, and then there'll be some time off for the holidays. So that's still a couple weeks away. But also, enjoy y'all's holidays too. Where we left off is a very quick recap, and the room fills with anxiety immediately.
Oh gosh.
On the road, the folks are all in their wagon, or on the wagon, or behind the wagon with their wolf. As the party is escorting Treya Lilarian, along with her Golden Sentinel guards Turk and Singe, east of Populous, through the woods, towards a town none of them have been to before called Dust Forge. On the way, also, Lorelith's hometown, or to Misery, random tree houses he saw today.
That's what that was. I didn't know that.
Is generally in that direction. And Lorelith had mentioned way long ago, 3 weeks ago, in game time, that there were some people there, some form of cult, that was causing a really harsh winter. And so the group had started to feel the effects of that winter. So they started to move east and put on all of the either bought or handmade weathers and winter gear that they had. And while that was happening too, a large carapaced shelled creature dug through the earth, slammed up to the bottom of the cart, and broke one of its wheels, stopping the group's progress as well as sticking around to try to fight them off. And they did a number on the group, but the group did prevail. And then the rest of that day was spent traveling and talking with Treya a bit and just making sure that the cart continued to move safely. And then the group finally got to rest after a pretty harsh day, first day travel away from Populous. In the middle of that night, Lorelith was taking guard, just sitting by the fire with Strokoth, hanging out and waiting for a couple of hours before she could wake up the next set of people to watch over the group. And while she was sitting there just paying attention and looking around, through the fire, across from her, sitting on a log, was a figure that just so happened to be casually sitting there. She never heard them walk up, never heard them say anything.
Even though I rolled really high.
Even though she rolled really high. And this figure was just kind of half smiling, looking at her by the fire and waiting to be noticed. And then once she did, and she saw some of his details, which I'll now describe to be a dwarven male, bald head, grayish skin, and a long white beard. And he got his face to a point. Leaning forward, elbows on his knees, in pretty light robes, but thick, with some fur lining. Eyes reflecting the fire with a little bit of reddish color to them too. And this smile, which you can just barely see through the mustache and beard. What he had said to you was, "You're coming through our camp. Stay the night, if you wish, but just know, be gone in the morning." And he's got this very light, jovial tone. Well, what do you do?
I thought he said this land was already taken and wanted to make a business deal.
Ooh.
Business deal.
We love you, but that's not what we said. Rachel quoted it, "You're in a land that you don't belong, stumbling into a place that we've already claimed."
Okay.
We ended.
And then he said, let's talk business.
Let's talk business, yeah.
Yeah.
That works too. Same thing.
Well, you said...
No, those are very different things. You made it sound like he's very happy to see us.
Yeah.
The business is you
Let's
must
stick with
leave.
this week. Never mind.
Sure.
This week.
Okay. Then
So is he happy or is he not happy?
you're in a
Get it right, Dan.
you're in a territory you don't belong in. This area is claimed.
Can I do an
Let's
insight
talk
check
this-
to find out
sure.
if he's happy or not?
Sure.
Since you won't tell me.
I'm rolling the insight check.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
What was it?
What's your insight modifier?
Good.
3 plus 3.
He seems playful.
Oh! Alright. Alright.
Play tag.
I bet he did.
Dag, you're it! Hi. Welcome to our campfire.
Hi, welcome to your camp.
I typically can see when people are coming, so you caught me off guard.
Start singing the campfires.
Very sneaky. CIMPFIRESON song. If something, 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 sing along.
Oh man,
Just kidding. You were sneaky. How'd you do that?
How'd you do that?
Did you appear here? Did you apparate? Did
No,
you
I-
fantasy apparate?
I know, I walked right in. Y'all have not really set up much to prevent something like that happening.
Okay, alright. It's not what I was saying.
Didn't we set up cans?
It was really,
We had several tripwires.
it was really quite easy, and
I'm not saying that you should have had difficulty. I'm saying that I'm very perceptive, and I didn't hear you coming.
not perceptive enough, I guess.
Rolled too
It's
poorly.
been a terrible conversation. I hate everything that's happening.
What's your purpose here?
We are on the way to Dust Forge, to where there's a group of us that has business there, and it's a long journey coming from where we were coming from, which is Populous. And so we also had a pretty intense scuffle with some bullets.
No, they were.
Bullets.
Bullets, yeah.
Bullets. So we set up camp to hang out for the night, and now you're here. So that's everything.
Great, and so you were leaving in the morning, heading towards Dust Forge?
Yes.
Okay, then. Well, you can spend the night, do what you need to do, but be gone in the morning.
You mentioned let's talk business.
My business is to make sure you are leaving as soon as possible. And,
My God.
well,
As I suspected.
This feels like a person in like an NPC in a video game, and you're like, how can I do this thing?
Well, my question is, what are the chances that a high perceptive person would wake up and hear this conversation?
I would wake you up right now if that was the case, but not right now.
You're safe. Save this boy.
I mean, you can look around and see that we're clearly not staying here, so it doesn't feel like you needed to come over here unless you had something else to say.
You can assume all that you wish. I simply have a crew of people that we're staying somewhere new and near, not new, staying somewhere near, and did not know if you were intending to push through or what your intentions were. I can see clearly you plan to move through, and my business here is done. And he starts to get up and look around.
Wait a second. Sit down, please. If that's okay with you.
Sure. Okay.
You're staying near here. Where?
We made camp a couple hours away. Saw your smoke from your fire and got interested. My turn. What's in the cart?
I don't know. Nothing?
I actually don't know.
I actually have no idea.
Okay.
Nothing? A person?
Interesting. Go ahead.
You set up camp near here. In tents? Or did you find a shelter?
Yes, we are staying in a series of tree houses nearby. What are your intentions in Dustforge?
We're escorting someone from Populous to Dustforge that has business there, and then we're taking her back.
Interesting.
That's it.
Okay.
But you're in my tree houses, so
Is that a question?
No, it's a statement and an accusation, I suppose.
Well, that's interesting because I thought I made it clear that this territory was ours.
How old are you? I'm not laughing. You're laughing. How old are you?
I'll give you a range between 50 and 300.
Great. Guess what?
Mm-hmm.
I'm 800 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I was born and raised in those trees and lived there until 3 weeks ago. So.
It's a shame you gave it up then.
Sorry. Something stuck in my throat, like, actually.
You're clearing your throat. I'm not clearing my throat.
Do you plan to stay there? For long?
Okay.
For now, we have much left to do.
What are your plans?
Oh, you're skipping a turn. Who is this person that has such important work in Dustforge to get done?
I mean, are you familiar with Populous?
From what I've heard.
Her name is Treya Lalarian. Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was Valerian.
No.
Valerian root.
There's egg on my face.
I'm just like, why are you laughing? Isn't that her
Yeah,
name?
you nailed it.
It was.
I did it. Treya Lalarian. What are you doing here? What are your plans? What are your intentions with my home?
Well,
I say as I clean a shotgun.
I and the company have been pillaging through and learning to
Pillaging?
read some of the Elvish scripts and books and things that have been kept in the archives of their library and studying up on some of the great intelligences and memories of those who once lived there.
It was a great intelligence. Who was it there?
And I was speaking about them in the past tense.
This has been a horrible conversation. I hate everything that's happening.
I tried to leave.
Can I? No, I'm saying that away from the game. I would not say that out loud. That would be rude.
Laura,
I think Laura would.
That's a good point. Fair enough. I care deeply about my home and where I'm from. I left because I was alone and it got very cold. And so to hear that someone else has taken it over is hard to hear. I don't know where you're from, but I hope you can understand that.
He stands back up from the log that he was sitting on, and he takes the 2 steps towards you. The bonfire is what is in between you both. And as he moves towards it, you can actually see the half of the fire that's on his side fades a bit, and the stronger sense of the fire is now only towards you. What stops you from claiming it then? To pull out your arrows and take it back from me right now?
No, just kidding. You seem like a reasonable person. I'm not saying that I need it back. I'm just asking what your intentions are.
Okay, then.
You gonna answer the question?
We intend to stay there for a while longer, and if that intercedes in your path, well, I'm sure we'll meet again. And then he goes to walk past and starts to leave camp.
Can I? Accidentally on purpose kick something to wake someone up so they can also talk to him before he leaves?
Sure. So the direction that he is going to be walking, where you are...
Please
you
be
were not
near.
sitting, you're here.
Please be near Pilgrim.
And Strokoth would have been awakening. No, Pilgrim is back here. He had stepped through... Or y'all were opposite each other, so I'll put you here for the watch. As he stepped here, then he wants to walk past, and so he's going to head this way.
Okay.
You've got Thelen, you've got Flemlin.
The two quietest people.
I
Enough conversations.
I noticed you didn't point out misery right there.
In the direction that he was walking, you could wake up Missouri. Julie's right there too.
Could you send Wolfie to Pilgrim?
I just switched the camera, so I'm going to point through some things. Pilgrim is right here. This is Thelin. This is the stranger in the camp. We have Lorelith and Strokoth right there. Gwendolyn, Misery, Julie. That is where Treya and the guards are.
is she in the thing in the carriage?
No.
Was I right? Was I wrong?
She's,
I didn't know she was.
no, they're outside
I don't know
of
what's
it,
in
near the
carriage.
fire, but...
Nothing. Do I have a keen enough? Keen maybe isn't the right word. Do you think Strokoth can pick up on my body language and movements
absolutely.
enough? Okay. I send him to go wake up Thelin.
As he's walking by, Strokoth just bounds over the log, walks across, circles around Thelin. You get some licks and nudges from Strokoth, and he pushes your head, and as soon as your eyes start to open up, you can see Lorelith by the fire, standing up. She looks anxious, she looks kind of defensive, and just to her left, in between you both, you can see this shadowy figure as the fire is throwing his light off in this direction. You can see his back as this figure you don't recognize is walking by you all.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, this is Ellen.
He just looks back and continues to walk forward, takes another step or so. You can keep talking, or...
Lorelith, do we know this man?
No, we don't. He came to have a chat with us.
I get up and
You?
I get up and take that stance. I would say that I get up and can tell that obviously he doesn't want anything to do with me or is distracted and walking forward. Can I create like a sensory leaf tornado thing in front of him to kind of try and get his attention to stop? So Thelin does that, tries to raise up some of the leaves and other things that are on the ground to at least halt the progress.
Sure. And as you kind of throw some wind and leaf up in his face to stop him, he'll stop, turn back, and see that your hand caused it. Is there something that you need?
Just wondering why you were in our camp.
I'm sure your friend here can, well, you said her name, Lorelith, could fill you in, but just making sure that, well, you're in land that does not belong to you, and I'm allowing you to stay here for the night.
You're in land that doesn't belong to you.
Claim it. The gods aren't watching, I can promise you that. Go for it. Do what you wish to do. Take it or leave me be.
You have a strong opinion about the gods?
See that your eyebrows perked as well. Been learning many things.
Things you like? Things you dislike?
Truth is truth. I don't care if I like it or not.
Big comments.
Felon, you came through here not that long ago. You must recognize the area.
Yeah.
The,
Does this man say he is from around here?
he's not from around here, but he has taken camp, in my previous village's tree houses.
When you passed through here, you spent some time going through the tree houses too, just for some safety, and you noticed a group of people here. You'd recognize that this guy was...
He was running the blue road?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, I would have recognized him.
You didn't tell me there were people there? Sorry.
And I said there were like people in blue and white robes that I avoided.
Oh yeah, cold people. You told me.
Cold people?
So he's wearing one of the blue and white robes. Okay.
He's
He is.
Now that you mention it, I recognize.
He's shivering a lot.
I recognize your cloak. I passed through the treehouse village. Was that 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
About 2 weeks ago, and recognized or noticed you all and just avoided you.
And you did right by continuing on your way without poking around or lingering, and, well, I recognize you from 2 weeks ago as well. Let you be.
I saw you first.
No harm came to me then, so you can be on your way. If it's alright with Lorelith, and we can choose our battles here. After a long fight, not a few hours ago.
Fair enough.
It seems as if these tree houses are out of your way anyway. You have somewhere else to be.
I believe my friend just wanted to make sure that you didn't harm her home with all the memories that it has.
Harm it. We are enjoying it and, well, diving into all that has been stored up there. So.
You are the one who used the word pillage.
It's a manner of speak. We tend to do more pillaging from place to place. This would probably be the loosest and least amount of pillaging that you could possibly imagine.
I don't want any amount of pillaging in my home.
How would you define pillaging then?
Are you destroying things?
No. Merely taking some things from it. He took something from it.
Going to put it back? You took one thing from it. You took a single thing. Are you going to put it back?
I assure you, me and each of the people in my company will all just take one thing then, since that seems to be a line that you're okay with.
Yes, but then once he found out that it was from my home, he returned it to an elf that is from that place. Do you have any intentions of returning it to any elves?
I'm not as generous as he is then.
But you are aware that this stuff doesn't belong to you.
No, I'm not.
No,
Yeah.
you think it belongs to you.
As of right now,
Because
I would
you
say.
found it. Finders keepers, that's what we're playing here.
An abandoned home with no one here to stake any claim to it at all? Yes, I would say that being able to walk into it and take and use, and yes, I would say that. Well, it's a matter of fact mine now.
Do you think I've raised my voice enough to wake anybody else
If you
up?
want to, like, if you wanted to raise your voice
Yes.
to wake people up, absolutely.
Great.
Yeah.
Wake the
Anyone else
fuck
who's
up,
around the campfire
everybody.
would like to be awake.
I'd love to be awake.
Stephen has been smoldering.
He's
over
been
this.
waiting to be awake. Shroop.
You all can hear. Maybe not Julie, but that's up to Julie. I'm just going off of the way that you've played Julie.
I would stay laid. Actually, I'm so sorry. I would stay laid down. I'm just like awake.
Shroop.
You all hear the both comments back and forth of this figure staking claim and saying that this place that you can piece together as Lorelith's home, he is in, and arguing with her at this point over the possession of it. And you can see Lorelith getting pretty heated about it. And this figure just standing, stopped now by your fire, turning between Dylan and Lorelith, just talking with them both.
Can I take a quick perception to see if anyone else has started coming this way?
Not from our party.
Right.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a perception check.
I'm allowed to roll this?
Yeah.
I just wanted to check before I
Yeah,
do
no,
it.
that's good.
This isn't.
16 plus 6 is 22.
That's pretty good. Okay.
That is pretty good.
Don't pay attention to the actual figures. They don't look exactly like their characters do.
That's fine.
But you can see some trees back here.
They're back.
There's a couple of people. One of these is up in a tree with a bow.
Is it knocked?
It is knocked and ready to go. And the figures that you see, I'll describe each of them. One of them only has one arm. I believe is Dorvish. I should pull up some of their information.
Oh, he's not trying to fire the arrow.
He's definitely okay. One of these is a creature that is a person that is related to goblins. It's called a bugbear, but they're just like larger, hairy, monstrous people. He has one arm. The other one is kind of like bandaged up to a nub and taken care of. But in his one hand, he's got his back to a tree as a flail, and so he's just kind of standing back with chainmail and this one flail is kind of tucked behind it. You can see him. He's kind of every once in a while taking a glance from this tree. Another one that you can see is a shorter figure in a robe. He was the last one that you did notice because he's like very much tucked into some shadows, but you can just see a small thin blade, very similar to the one that Misery uses, sticking out between his hands. There's another figure with, I think...
We didn't know what that figure was.
Hmm?
The one with the thin blade, we don't know what like race he is.
No, you just saw like shadows and cloaks.
Just a figure.
Let me see, where'd you go?
A mashing cloak.
Okay, you can see another figure similar to the other one, Bugbear. This this very furred and armored up, large, muscular creature. You can see this one in particular. His arms are just like awkwardly long, and then rolling out from one of his hands is this long whip that he has at the ready too. Then the last figure that you notice, as you were there, you can see the torrent off into the shadows.
Rivalry, history. Can I, from my laying down spot, roll to see if I'm trying to like, from my discreet position, see if I notice any of these people as well?
You roll a perception check too.
Where is the torrent? Just asking for a friend.
The Pontiac dealership.
I don't
9 plus 9, 18.
Okay, Julie, I don't know if you know this at all,
Yeah.
but he's actually the closest one to you.
Oh no!
And then,
18?
yeah.
So just for your sake, you can see everyone except those two off on that side. So you can see the person by the fire, and then you can see the two kind of like larger furred creatures that I described earlier.
Up in the trees.
They're hiding behind
I'm
them.
sorry, there wasn't one with an arrow. Yeah, no, they're both on the ground there.
They're both there. So I don't see the ones in the trees.
There's none in the tree.
There's none in the
But
trees.
if you want to assume that there could be more of them, they might be in the trees. But Dan is
You
telling
can't see anything in the
Yeah.
trees.
Okay. Okay. I think I would just want to discreetly kind of like, not get up fully. I want to, as discreetly as possible, kind of roll into a position where I could like, be ready to like move quickly, but I'm not like drawing attention to myself,
Yeah.
basically.
Is there something that you want to be ready to do if something were to happen?
Yeah, I think my thought process is just, I would want to, I mean, depending on how long this interaction goes, continue to like circle around the camp until I'm close enough that I could like pop in behind one of these other people and.
Okay.
How far is this from
So
me,
maybe-
this person?
50 feet.
Okay. Can I cast daylight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
I cast daylight on this log. It has a 60-foot barrier, and it just turns it into daylight.
Yep.
The light is the.
Okay.
My eyes open and my
If
pupils.
Julie wasn't awake, she is now. As it immediately goes from the depth of night into what feels like middle of the day. This entire campfire is just lit up from that log to now be regular daylight. And all of the figures off into the distance are kind of taken back by this. A couple of them start to actually move forward. The figure that you've been talking to just smiles, looks over to you. Fine then, if we are going to do this with the most clarity of the day, then here we are, the odd company. So, if I'm not able to leave and you wish to lengthen this conversation, to what end? Why am I still here?
Can I ask a question?
Mhm.
Does daylight include UV light that spell?
I think I clarified this before. A spell like this would not have any impact on vampires if
That's why I'm asking.
It's not the sun.
It's just a log. A bright log. A blog.
We just wanted to know who all was here.
Bull, Steel, Torrent, Cyclone.
Yo, Cyclone.
Yeah, freaking names are those. Yo, Bull, Steel, Torrent. Oh my god.
Cowabunga, dude!
What up,
Gonna say, like,
dude?
It's like rocket power, right?
They're here to serve us.
We're about to have a dance battle, my dude.
It's like the Pokemon team that like they're always doing this.
Misery wakes up.
This is fun for me too, guys.
Misery wakes up. It is daylight right next to him. His eyes open. He goes, ah! Why? And then looks around and sees this guy first, I guess, because he's close to. I was like, who the heck are you?
Well, I see that we've all made all the fun jokes about Pokemans and stuff. I am the dealer, and this is the Odd Company. And you are...
None of your business.
You tell them.
That almost was your name.
Misery business.
Yeah, misery business. No, I don't tell my name. I was trying to sleep.
Your worst nightmare.
Treya's two guards wake up. You can hear them talking
Oh, right, it's Bright.
with Treya as well
Go.
before they both just kind of stand forward.
Anyone have a sleeping spell? They can put them to sleep.
Treya tries to get up, but she falls down, her hands fall off, her weapon breaks again.
She starts crying.
Just fix that!
Tuli's gonna kip up.
Ooh,
Really
keep
cool.
up.
You better roll for that.
Wait, that's
Oh, you
not-
roll on your back and you'll land on your feet?
Yeah.
Let's go.
I used initially. Like so.
Whoa!
Thank you. Well done.
It's more like,
And she's facing the fully wrong way.
Sends it down.
You can see the Torrent has both of his hands on his quarter staff, and he's leaning against this tree, and he's got his eyes just locked on you.
Whoa. You feel that tension?
Tuli, like, spins her, like, quarterstaff, and she, like, is trying to position herself so she can see her friends, but then is, like, looking at the Torrent, and she kind of, like, glares at him and says, Torrent! And then she, like, in one hand casts, like, she doesn't throw it, but she, like,
Okay.
readies the spell, like, Firebolt in her hand, and just has it, like, I'm picturing, like, a huge thing of fire, like, kind of swirling. And then she's, like, staring at him, and she's like, take a picture, it'll last longer.
hey!
Take a what?
And then he takes a picture.
Fancy picture.
He starts
Paint a
painting.
portrait. Fireside chat could not have gone worse.
Chat.
That would be bad.
The half chat?
Yeah. Fireside
Chat.
You've poised your crew. You've seen my people. What next?
I feel
You're dead now. You died already.
I think Nellen would say something along the lines of, like, talking to everyone else. There have been no threats. And telling everyone, I've seen people similar to these with these robes before I met you all. I'm just finding out that they allowed me to pass without harm as I went through the tree houses that they now inhabit. The Keeper, is that your name?
The dealer.
The Dealer. The Dealer has requested that we be gone in the morning, which was our plan anyways. Just wanted you all to be aware of our surroundings and our presence should things go in a way we did not expect.
Is Gwendolyn doing anything?
She awake?
Yeah, if you want to be.
She's on her phone.
You wake up and you can immediately see that you're surrounded by 3 people you don't recognize.
Is Misery still laying down?
I'm sitting up.
I assume I've been awake the whole time. Oh, Gwen's
I'm
been
trying to
saying
go
thing
back
that
to
she'll
sleep.
have like a hand on the thing, her weapon. Yeah, one weapon.
Tuli's gonna say, she kind of like slides her foot back and does like the sideway turn that martial artists do. And she's gonna say, so our groups may not have beef, but, and then she's gonna look at the torch. She says, I want a rematch.
Oh shit.
And she says,
That's not what I intended.
and then she like twirls her staff and points at him with the fire. She's like, name the time and place. So like a very subtle
Not reading the
negotiation.
Not reading the room.
The dealer responds and says, the next time you and almost at the Tempest, the Torrent, fight, we'll be at his side. So, again, you are in control of when that happens. But if we are free to go, we'll be on our way.
What Tuli says to the torrent, what's the matter? Can't fight your own battles?
He seems unfazed and is just sitting back as the dealer continues to speak for him. He says, I think he fought that battle already, did he not?
Tuli,
I know you are, but what am I?
yeah. Tuli kind of like looks over at them and said, she says to the dealer, then she like looks back at Torrent, still talking to him, and says, a casual street match is not the same as an official challenge. And she casts Firebolt at the ground and casts this kind of mark that I could describe it later, but she's trying to burn this mark into the ground. It's like her culture's official challenge, and it's like the seal of the school of Jigyasu. Like, and he said, you insult, and then she like burns it into the ground, and then she like twirls it again, and this is an official challenge from her like school, and says, you insulted my master, I can't let that go. And she said, if not now, then our time is coming. And she like lowers the firebolt.
As you cast the firebolt on the ground, all of y'all can see each and every one of them goes for a weapon, like grabs it and starts to like lunge forward, but then stops when it was cast at the ground, and they were like itching and ready to hop in, assuming that she was going to make the first attack. But then they rest back. The torrent speaks back. Your high family's schooling, well, you give it much honor for it not to provide the victory that you so desire.
Tully's like, let's find out.
We already did this.
Tully says,
But-
no, not a street fight, a martial art fight. No magic, just fists.
And he looks over towards the dealer.
And she says, and then she's kind of like a little more reading the room and like has lowered her weapon. And she says, not now, but someday.
I'm sure our paths will cross again. And he stows his quarterstaff back and just looks over towards the dealer. Or hopefully not. It seems as if we've drawn a line, and that is where I hope it stands. And then he's moving on, walking by, goes past Quinlan.
So, like, can I go to bed again now?
Just walks off into the distance.
Okay.
The group
All right.
file behind him, and then eventually they're off into the dim light from the daylight that you cast, and go off to fade off into the woods.
Thelen looks over at Lorelith and says, our job right now is to go to Duskforge and protect
Trey.
Treya. After that, if you feel like you want to head to the tree houses, I would join you since I've been there before. But that is not our mission right now.
I just kind of nod and then sit down on the log, pat the spot next to me for Sturkoff to come and sit and pick up some rocks. of start casually, but also kind of aggressively tossing them just into the unknown. Into the unknown.
Can I don't know if this is something I can do, but can I, you know how like sound travels over water and over wind and stuff? Can I send my voice over wind to the people that left and just say we'll be gone in the morning?
Yeah.
So I feel like I had a little bit of respect for the way that it was handled, especially after him mentioning that they knew that I was there as sneakily as I thought I was being, and obviously outnumbered. And so while I didn't like the approach of them coming in, I think that Thelen respects the way that it was handled and understands that process. And so I send that as almost a respectful goodbye.
Okay. Got it.
So you just yell really loud.
Pilgrim, you
No,
were
I like whisper
able to
into
skirt around the camp. Was there anything you wanted to do at any point during that, or anything you'd like to do?
No, I mean, I think when the daylight log happened, I think I kind of stopped. I had was like crouching like a dope, and then I like stood up, tried to as regally as possible, trying to maintain some dignity, and then I probably would have just stuck to kind of where I was observing, kind of.
Head back towards your. Were you sleeping? Or?
Yeah, I would say I kind of walk up to be with Thelen, like in a non-threatening manner, just trying to seem relatively passive and listening and observing, and I guess just trying to, as I walk closer in the daylight, like scanning all of them, seeing if there's anything of note that I would notice, any details, anything. I guess just trying to take in their faces, take in everything I can about them. Just kind of, as I'm not the focus of this conversation, trying to use that to my advantage to kind of like look at them while they're not looking at me, or. But that's it.
I'd say for your own note and memory, if you were to run into any of them again, especially going into a city that you don't recognize and things like that, you would be able to like kind of pull them out or recognize them from spending some time just kind of studying and sitting back. And go ahead and I'll roll. No, just roll a perception check as well.
what time of day is it right now?
1, 2,
15.
Okay. The guy in the robe, you notice that there's another guy who kind of stuck to the shadows and was off in the distance too. He has a bit like a small dagger and was sticking to the shadows, and you can see at one point when Tuli went to flash with her spell, he is a very stealthy, small dwarf rogue, and when her spell started to go off, his hand kind of flickered, and there was a blue orb of magic that he even had in his hand too. So, for what that's worth, their rogue was able to do some type of magic. And for our sake too, even though this isn't like game language, the group consisted of a barbarian, a rogue, a fighter. You're not really quite sure about the dealer, but he didn't really show anything. He didn't really seem to have any weapons on him either. And then the monk that was the torrent as well.
Monk.
Okay.
At this point, Thelen begins to retract the daylight so that it
Nice.
becomes dark again.
The sword is gone, Treya. It's fine. And then Treya comes out from her sleeping tent, and you can see her face get illuminated by the daylight that then dims to just the fire. And she's just like, all right. Is it over? What happened?
No, I'm gonna go back to bed.
No, but seriously, what was in our camp?
Just some folks who were nearby that wanted to make sure we were all right.
So he says, don't worry, they weren't orphans.
I looked at Treya. Are you familiar with a group that calls themselves the Odd Company?
I've not heard those words for that purpose. I'm very tired. No.
Well, that's what they called themselves, and it would seem that they were initially having, if I understand it, a private conversation that swiftly became a full party-to-party encounter that thankfully didn't turn violent. And I kind of like my eyes linger on Thule. I wanted to say that. But I was
Tuli
like,
goes,
Well, it hasn't been 12 hours yet, and you all are exceeding expectations. Thank you. Our journey is almost halfway through. To bed.
can I roll a sarcasm check?
Question for Dan.
Yeah.
From Joey.
Hey, buddy.
Have we? What are you doing on? Have we heard of the dealer already? I thought we had, but I
sounded
might
familiar.
have imagined it. I think we have. You can just say yes or no, and that's all we know.
And she's like, roll a history check.
Pilgrim, roll a history check.
Yeah.
I'm the one who's supposed to remember this.
Yeah.
No, I'm so embarrassed.
It's not in Rachel's notes, so it's
so
lost
it's fine.
forever. Do you have it in your notes?
17.
No, she doesn't.
17. That's good enough for Cassandra to remind you all what.
It's in Rachel's notes.
I typed the
Control
dealer,
F dealer.
not
Yeah,
dealer.
Control F
No,
dealer.
but I didn't write the dealer.
Oh, I
in
got
it,
you.
So I didn't find
You
it.
found it.
Yeah, okay, I did find it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Asked earlier.
Pilgrim decides to use the telescope. Fairgrain and Thule help. We reconnect to the draconic voice. We hear, "Hey dealer, I found something here. I'm reading here that Strazzle was corrupted by Drenton. This book is fascinating." The other voice speaks back in Draconic. Then they both start talking in Draconic.
The dealer talked in Draconic?
Both voices
Bruh.
talking in
Whoa.
Draconic.
We chased them.
Yeah, and Wicked should have remembered that.
Strazzle.
But only
Strazzle.
only Pilgrim and Thule would have heard that.
Yeah.
Peregrine.
Yeah.
So, as I was saying that, I would say the realization dawns on Pilgrim's face. Actually,
Yeah.
come to think of it, this what I assume is the leader of this odd company was named in a conversation I overheard using Fedegran's magic telescope.
The FFT. Yeah.
The NSA.
Yes. It would seem that whoever this dealer is, he does speak truth when he speaks of studying and reading up on dragons. For I heard them discussing dragons through the telescope, through the NSA. We have to figure out what that stands for.
No.
Rachel came up with it.
What does it stand for?
Something.
I forgot.
Spying.
I was just trying to make an NSA joke.
Yeah, it was good.
It's like
It was really good.
something's like
Spying apparatus.
Yeah.
spying apparatus.
Nefarious.
Yeah, something like
spying
that.
apparatus.
The naughty spire.
I was trying to find an N word that meant magical.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyways.
Magical.
Nautical. No. Cool. The dealer is one of our draconic speaking strangers, and we now have a face to a voice. Would I know what kind of species speak draconic typically? Is there any reason I would know that?
What kind of what?
Like species? Like, is it like common? Like, oh, these people speak draconic.
Sure. Make an intelligence check.
How big is my brain? Is my brain? How big is my brain? 19.
Wow, that's great. Specifically in your background and where you grew up, Draconic was what we would compare to Latin in the sense that it's like it's an old language that is dead in the sense that it's like we've have more modern language that's more nuanced, and either people hold on to it for its high value in historical importance, or because of lineage, or that would be dragonborn. And so either like people who are very well studied, care a lot to dive into the history of dragons, or even in some of the older scrolls and books that were written specifically in Draconic, that you can get kind of a deeper sense of what their original language was, all of that. Like people in your clan was like the very highly intelligent people who cared about that stuff were like really good at Draconic, and that was a main avenue for it. And then you run into some Dragonborn that either have spoken it a little bit on their own or to each other or things like that, where it's a little more just like cultural, our family has passed this on.
Okay. it would, from what I recall, they were learning about Srazzle,
Very good.
and they seem to have some sort of desire of reconnecting with him in some form or fashion.
Julie walks over behind the fire and kneels down and is kind of, she casts control flames and is like stoking the fire, and she seems very thoughtful. And she says to, kind of thinking out loud, so they're researching something. They speak Draconic. They talked about Srazzle and Drenton. And she kind of pauses. And she says, either they're just super, super big history buffs, or they're trying to bring back the dragons, fam. That's my IMHO.
While they've been talking, when I heard them kind of recounting some of this, I pulled out the diary that my good friend Felon gave me, and saw that it mentioned Drenton in it. And so
Have you gotten to read that like out loud to
No.
people, or for like?
no.
Would you like to? Or is that
Yes.
Go for it.
Pilgrim and Felon said,
They both pull out their trumpets.
There's a description at first, so just know that. This
Honestly,
isn't
it's
all
on
of
for
it is.
Peanut in the morning.
You just don't get to hear it. Sorry. Tough luck.
Is Misery asleep?
Early bird gets the sleep. This is entirely a prayer journal of a prominent religious person of your tribe. My tribe. Throughout the war, you tended to despise the pure... Oh, the name of the person is Lengrace?
Lengrace.
Lengrace Pure Light. Throughout the war, you tended to despise the Pure Lights and other religious elves because you blamed the gods for this war. But their faith stayed strong throughout. All of her prayers are written out to a god named Valessa. Common themes are referring to her as the creator and molder of the world, that she is not to blame for the war, but it is mankind's rejection of authority that got them to where they are now. Lengrace condemns the god Drenton, who organized the rebellion, and she curses him and his followers under Valessa's name. More and more the prayers get desperate. Lengrace struggles with hope when seeing family members join in the war and die as the rest of them hide away and try to survive. Her last prayer is written in typical elvish form. To the greatest of all the powers, the origin of lights and fires, the wielder of elements and colors, the world is molded by your hands. Our kind are your statues, molded by your hands. Our bloodline is a masterpiece, a focal point of pride. Are we abandoned to this chaos? Are we discarded and rejected? Is our fate in Opori? I think not. I believe not. We believe not. Even for the errant and the rebel, we believe not. I pray for a haven from those blind to your ways, who cannot see beauty from your hands.
And also the
This is the word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
I felt bad. Let's not do that.
I'm just like going around the campfire with my eyes raised. I don't know.
Do you think that even though I despised the Pure Lights, hearing what they said about, like hearing what they overheard about the dealer talking about Drenton and stuff, that I would have a tendency to have more empathy or trust the Pure Lights' motivations and despise of Drenton, despite the fact that I kind of didn't like them very much during the war.
Yeah.
Does that make sense what I'm asking?
It does. I think that.
Like, am I going to trust my own people over,
Yeah.
even if I don't like them?
Yes, and I think through the way that we talked about your character and their backstory and stuff like that too, is you've always had this tension with or not always maybe, but as you've read this diary and kept seeing the family, this tension between the like really hyper-religious of the elves and the fact that you just kind of went off and did your own thing, and in addition to that too, when you came back and all of your family was gone, like that kind of provoked this. All of the gods are like the cause, and so as you look at a family like the Pure Lights, who just like had a god that they did like and one that they did not, I think it would be fair to say that you, if there was going to be a god not to like, Drenton would be it. You were never like, oh, I can't believe they don't like Drenton. Like, that was never the thing. It was just more like, oh, I can't believe that they do this and really believe it. But also, like, their values and everything that they were looking for were, like, sympathetic to that. If that makes sense. If that's helpful.
Yes, it is.
You felt, maybe this might be a helpful way to put it, you felt like you could come to the same conclusion with less steps, and they were like kind of making it more complicated with religion.
Gotcha. I say all of that to the group more or less to basically be like, I'm sharing this because though I have some tension with the gods because I think they're to blame for the war, I trust the people of my tribe, and they had suspicions about Drenton, and if these people are referencing Drenton, I think that there's cause to be wary.
I believe our journey to Duskforge.
Is it dusk or dust?
Just.
Dust.
I should be doubting myself.
Ducks Fjord.
As we go to the Duskfjord, many a mallard we will see.
Lakeside City.
Seems our starting from square one on that sentence, it would seem our journey to Dustforge it's gotten an additional wrinkle of treacherousness.
I think it's treachery.
Treacherosity.
Treacherosity. Treachery felt wrong. I thought you were asleep.
That was Joey.
I thought you were asleep.
Sleep talking.
Oh boy.
Tuli says, maybe I can check if there's archives in Dustforge. Maybe I can take a little side quest, so to speak, and try and find out what they might be doing or trying to do. We knew the god Orban.
We will need to tread lightly. I do know that the people of Dustforge sure do like Drenton.
Well, they like Orban too, right? He's the patron god of Dustforge. He was corrupted by Drenton.
And Orban is Valessa's husband. We remember so much.
Tuli and Pilgrim like pull off forward. Okay.
It's like that Always Sunny thing. Pepe Sylvia.
Also, Valessa is a dragonborn. So that means
Bonus points all around. Wow.
And dragons are loud.
Day.
And so, anyway, I'm going to sleep.
I will just want to point out, just to ask you not to prod or push anything, in the prayer that she read, it did reference a Pori, and I don't know if that...
I was gonna ask if that means anything to anyone.
Right.
That's where Tuli's from.
Can you read that part again?
And it like referred to it as if it's hell.
I thought...
Listen this time.
I watched
didn't know,
you, I thought you reacted to
No,
it.
I thought it was like an adjective, but I didn't know what it meant. Like a
No,
flowery
it's your
word.
hometown.
Porous? It has the breed.
Wow, this sandwich is a porous.
So it starts with, I'm going to summarize before I get to it so you can have some context.
Okay.
They're giving thanks and gratitude to Valessa, talking about how great elves are. And then it says, are we abandoned to this chaos? Are we discarded and rejected? Is our fate in a Pori? I think not. I believe not. We believe not. Even for the errant and the rebel, we believe not. I pray for a haven from those blind to your ways who cannot see beauty from your hands.
So, Tuli, rewind a little bit. Tuli is still thinking and considering, and she's still controlling the flames. And you can kind of like see, like, as she's serious, the flames are kind of, her eyes seem very dark, and like the flames are reflecting in her eyes a little bit as she's kind of staring into the fire and thinking. And she says, yes, a fate worse than hell, to be sent to a Pori. And then she kind of seems like very sober and is like still playing with the flames a little bit. And she says, I think that's all she says.
Do I know anything about Apori? Or was that a word that I didn't recognize?
Sure. You make a religion check. There's like a very basic thing that you will know.
I told Gwen about it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I might be the one that knew.
What'd you say? A religion check?
Yeah.
14.
Okay. I think you would know more than just the very basics, a little bit more than just the very basics. This plane is called Canvas, K-A-M-B-A-S. It's the plane that Valessa has created and has dominion over as a whole, and sees it as like her work, her place of good, blessing, happiness, this kind of like general contentment that she has with what's created here. Apori was then created second to that, kind of later as the creation process was going through, and she created other gods and gave dominion to different areas and things like that. Apori became the place where if something did not live up to the way Valessa designed or desired, she would just move them away from Canvas and set them to be aside into this Apori place. It's where is rumored that Drenton has been sent to, as he was the leader of this rebellious god Push, as well as several other like races of people and different monsters and creatures and things that just, from her perspective, did not uphold to what she believed to be what was best for Canvas. That's where Apori is and what it represents.
Does knowing now that Thule is from there change anything about my opinion of her?
That is a great roleplay question for Laurel to figure out.
I don't think Tool.
I want you to answer that.
You didn't just specify that you were from Apori. You just
No,
said
I didn't.
Apori, a fate worse than hell.
I've said that I'm from a plane not from here.
Mm.
And I said that I grew up in a really dangerous place. Like the time I twisted you, almost like flipped you over.
Oh, right.
When I woke up
Yeah,
surprised.
yeah.
And
Would
I
you
told
say
Gwen.
that there is a level of like an insight check that Laurel could do, that if she reached it, she could piece together something?
that I'm actually from a Apori?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'll let you set the DC if you think.
Ooh.
Make it 40.
Oh, how the turntables.
Because
Typically, 10 is easy, 15 is like moderately difficult, and 20 is like pretty impossible.
there's a lot of pieces here because also a couple of sessions ago I explained that the connection between Strazel and Drenton because I said we actually have a statue to Drenton.
Yes.
And so I think that it's probably pretty easy
Okay.
at this point. I would say like maybe 12.
Oh, cool. I was thinking that too. So,
Whoa!
What is it? What
Is it a
check
religion
is
check?
insight check, and you can roll it.
Rachel the
Insight check.
DM.
Great.
Listen!
Joffrey?
Whoa.
It's a 4 and my insight is +3. So it's 7. So I don't know where you're from.
If you would like to Joffrey it,
We just
Joffrey
won't
is
say
there.
We normally never use
I was
John.
gonna say, we're never
Can I
using
Joffrey it?
Frozen now.
Can I Joffrey?
I love how later tonight there's
We have
just
whole
gonna be the
next
best
episode,
Joffrey ever.
But we can vote.
Wait, we didn't
Wait,
vote
we
yet.
only use it once per night?
Yeah.
Once per night.
We don't know what's happening tomorrow.
Yeah.
Is that
We've
important
used
that
it
we
like
know
3
this?
nights total of the year that we've done
That's
this.
true.
It was my idea. I'm not going to vote for it, though. Y'all can vote. I know. We don't. We might
I'm not
be
voting for this.
in
I vote no.
Dustforge.
Yeah.
I will
no.
say too, nobody has asked me.
Yeah.
Are you
Alright. You can ask.
Alright.
Let's just try to figure out where she's from instead of just like with that guy. Never asked.
Back to the game.
friend with Lorla?
What do you know?
That's friend I would tell anything to.
Wow, good impression.
What do you know? You referenced Apori. What do you know? How do you know?
What do you know?
About him, Corey?
How do you know about it?
Tuli kind of looks up quickly at Loreleth, and she has a little bit of a fantasy deer caught in fantasy headlights expression on her face.
Deer are real.
Deer caught in fantasy headlights.
deer?
She looks surprised,
Fantasy headlights.
and she kind of like looks at Loreleth kind of hesitantly, and then she looks over at Gwen, because Gwen knows that Tuli is from a Pori, and Tuli kind of sits back and kind of braces herself, and then says, I was born on that plane. My family is, my people are some of the people that Ballista did not approve of. And she said, it is not a fate that I would wish on anyone to be sent there. But it's my goal to go back and save my family.
That's a noble cause.
And she like kind of relaxes a little bit because she actually expected Loreleth to be upset. I guess maybe Rachel's reading too much into this, but she knows Elvish people are religious in a lot of ways, and she expected Loreleth to be
Not me, bro.
the same. And she kind of relaxes a little bit and says, you aren't upset?
Loreleth talks about how she deconstructed.
Healthily.
Hopefully, and then reconstructed.
No. No.
Tuli, like, you see like tears welling up in Tuli's eyes.
Oh no.
She like stands up and comes over to Loreleth, and like she almost touches you, but then she maybe in a rare moment of insight perceives that you don't want to be touched, and she instead does her thing and says like, thank you, friend Loreleth.
I pick up a fantasy broom and go, there.
Broom.
Why did you hit her with a broom?
You haven't seen that from 30 Rock?
Oh yeah.
He's like, don't be cry.
It's okay. Don't be cry. And then later she's crying, and Jack picks up the broom and goes, there.
But in this story, it gives something like this.
Of course.
Tuli like settles back down by the fire and says, if these people have anything to do with a Pori or with Drenton, then I would agree with Loreleth. We should be wary of them. They're bringing back the dragons, fam.
Give them my old strength.
They're bringing back the dragons.
Okay. We head back into our bedrolls and tents
Bed.
and get close to that fire for warmth, as every word that was spoken tonight was accompanied with frosty breath.
Oh my gosh. So many words.
Did you plan for that conversation to last an hour?
I planned for this whole like encounter and follow up to be an hour, depending on how it went.
Nice. Good.
Can I say something real quick?
Whoa.
Yeah.
As Cassandra? Or
Yeah.
Gwen?
Sorry, y'all probably won't. It's me. Sorry, y'all probably won't know, but I'm convinced that the Odd Company is Jacob's brothers from the Icewind Dale campaign grown up.
Oh god.
So, shout out to Jacob, Australia Hesse.
Huh.
It's your brothers.
They do have a cameo vibe about them.
They do, don't they? And they're icy,
They're cold.
and they speak in a different language.
Oh.
There's a lot that makes me think it's them grown up.
Icy like Australia.
Great.
The down under.
As everyone gets back to bed, who is next on watch? And okay, Pilgrim, as you sit through and think through and process some of tonight's interactions and yesterday's fight and all of that.
Oh, I'm not sleeping yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm probably still awake sitting next to him, but
Okay.
just as a heads up, I'm too hopped up to take a nap at this point.
I'm hopped up too.
Y'all get another like 2 hours or so to talk through anything that y'all would process or.
Oh no.
No, I was gonna ask her why she hit Tuli with a broom.
Yeah. We did that already.
Yeah. I mean, I'm scanning the trees pretty intently after a whole party of ruffians came through. But, yeah, I guess while I'm scanning, I will mind link with Loreleth to try to keep our voices down. How are you feeling after that encounter?
On edge.
You said that these people took your home away from you.
They didn't necessarily take it away from me, but the place that they're inhabiting that Felon went through is my home. It's my tree houses, and it sounds as though they're using a lot of the works of my people for evil and not for good, and that makes me sad and angry.
I am sorry. I know the pain that comes from seeing something that was designed for good being used for evil. It is heavy. But when our task is done at Dustforge, if you do need or desire assistance in removing these usurpers, I hope you know that you have someone there to help you.
Thank you. I may just take you up on that because I can't. I understand the task that we have at hand, and I can't stand idly by while the legacy of my people is being destroyed.
I understand completely. And then, just back to kind of scanning the trees.
For the sake of the watch and everything, you all feel like they have stuck to their word and have stayed distant and nothing else really comes by. Okay. So,
When Pilgrim mind links, does he have any outward example that he's mind linking?
He goes,
No, I usually use it to be intentionally discreet.
Your eyes glow and you just stare. Oh, he's mind linking again.
So subtle.
My beautiful gift.
Yeah.
even to the point where, like, you think there's not, like, one momentary glance or anything that he can maybe pick up on, or is it, like, completely...
No, I think I intentionally.
Okay.
I think that one definitely recognizes that he's looking around.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that I just kind of look over and say, I think we're safe now. And then I'd lay down and go to sleep.
Okay. Last watch.
I think that was me.
Truly.
Really wasn't me.
I'm gonna retire and take my 3 hours.
But you're
that's
so
necessary.
young.
200 years from retirement.
Joey's like, we didn't fight anything. I'm gonna get some quips in.
I'm asleep.
get my quick 3 hours in. Is there a way to say that, like, I'm sleeping, but also it's not a good sleep? It's a bad sleep.
Yeah, that's fine.
You don't reach
You
REM
just say
cycle.
No, I don't reach my REM cycle.
You're one REM cycle
Tossing.
per night.
I'm tossing and turning and
How much health do
thinking
you have?
42 out of
Everyone's
42.
fully healed
All
from
of it.
natural healing.
Not him.
Oh, you're still missing some? I would say, Laura, as you do finally go to lay down and sleep, the nightmare that you had, I think it was like a week ago. No, it was 2 weeks ago, of being in your hometown and walking through it, and then the woodland creatures that all just kind of like crept in, and you could hear them speaking this language that you didn't really know or understand, with some of the context that you've learned, and with some of the context that's now feeding into what that dream is. It's just as unnerving as it was before, and feeling this like nature of the place kind of turning is still like this theme of it, but then as you awake from it later in the morning and you're thinking through it, like the language that they're speaking is draconic, for what that's worth too, and that same imagery and discomfort just revisits you in your sleep, and that interrupts a lot of the deeper sleep cycles, but you're still fine to full rest, but it's interrupted. Tuli, you're on watch. Wendland, are you on watch too? Or do you sleep through the whole night?
I don't. Did I have one? I thought
You
I.
didn't say you did.
Anyone would.
Yeah, I mean, I would. I
Yeah.
just don't remember the order. I would.
Misery, would you?
I was gonna say no one has misery if he was on watch.
Okay. Tuli and Wendland, you have a couple hours together too. If y'all just want to stay watch and stay quiet, that's totally fine, but you would take
Chat.
Tuli's
Tuli?
would never.
Rachel would, Tuli
Stay
would not.
quiet.
She
What
chatters.
does Tuli want to talk about?
There's a lot of strong emotions, and through a cathartic release, she is discussing any and everything with you.
Mm-hmm.
What your favorite books are,
Mm-hmm.
what your goals and hopes and dreams are.
What's your biggest weakness?
Do you prefer fishtail braids, French braids, and so
What's key
on?
to teamwork?
Yeah.
Let's take the quiz inside of this Teen Vogue magazine.
Yeah.
We're on our stomachs like
Yeah. Tuli pulls out her tiger bead. At some point, Gwen would have handed you her jar of bees, saying that you're a little high key, but like, I think you don't even notice. You just like take them and you're like,
That's the same. Like, she just shakes it and is holding it. And it's like, but I don't think he's as cute as the other singer, which is the one that I'm like,
fantasy hairstyles.
Fairy style.
Hey, someone threw a Skittle at his eye recently.
The aim for his eye.
See
Chase the rainbow. Thank you.
I was at See the Rainbow,
See
you
the
the Rainbow at the same
yeah.
time. You all dang it, it was great.
See the
Okay, then the morning comes and everyone wakes up to head off onto the next day's journey towards Dustport at the closing of this episode.
wow.
Sunrise.